Welcome back, everyone, to Stories That Shouldn't Be Told. Tonight's tale is about something many of us grew up with, a simple, innocent doll. This is a true story about a cursed doll, a basement that should have stayed locked, and a night that changed everything. Every story is a warning, and this one is a reminder. Don't take any doll, not ever. But before we dive in, make sure to subscribe, like the video, and share it with anyone who dares to listen. And tell me in the comments, what are your favorite types of horror stories? Your support keeps the fear alive. Now, let's begin. One afternoon, a young girl was playing with her neighbor when she stumbled upon the doll. It looked unusual, but there was something undeniably beautiful about it. With delicate porcelain skin and shimmering glass eyes, it had the charm of a treasured antique, the kind of doll little girls might adore for hours. At first glance, it seemed perfectly innocent. Who could have imagined what would come next? One girl was Plon. Sunny afternoon, my cousin Sarah came to visit our house for the weekend, and she immediately noticed the doll sitting prominently on my bedroom shelf. Her eyes widened with recognition and shock when she saw it, and she told us the most incredible and spine-chilling story. She explained that she once had a doll exactly like this one when she was much younger, around 7 years old. She loved it so deeply and passionately that she would carry it everywhere she went and sleep with it every single night, whispering secrets to it in the darkness. But one mysterious morning, it had completely vanished from her room without leaving any trace behind. Deeply intrigued and excited by her mysterious story, we decided to create our own spooky adventure that would give us thrills and chills. There was an old, completely unused basement in our house that nobody ever dared to enter anymore due to its creepy atmosphere. The wooden stairs leading down were ancient and creaked ominously with every single step we took. We carefully took red paint and wrote terrifying messages on the cold, damp walls like blood, death, forever, cursed, in dripping letters that looked disturbingly realistic in the dim, flickering light from our flashlights. We spent hours setting up horrifying decorations throughout the entire basement. Fake plastic skulls with hollow eye sockets, torn white sheets strategically hung to look like menacing ghosts, and plastic bones scattered randomly around the floor. We brought several old kitchen knives and rusty gardening tools to make it look exactly like a scene from a terrifying horror movie. Despite how genuinely scary everything looked in the shadows, we were having the absolute time of our lives, laughing hysterically and trying to scare each other with silly monster voices and overly dramatic poses. That evening, I convinced my cousin to spend the night so we could continue our spooky games. She eagerly agreed, and we decided to sleep in the living room so we could keep an eye on our creepy basement creation. It was around 2:30 in the morning when everything changed. We both saw her at the same time, a pale woman in a flowing white dress standing at the top of the basement stairs. Her face was twisted with anguish and terror, and her mouth hung open as if she was screaming, but no sound came out. We froze in absolute horror, unable to move or breathe. Then we heard it, the most blood-curdling screams coming from deep within the basement. It sounded like dozens of children crying and wailing in unimaginable pain. The sounds echoed through the house, growing louder and more desperate with each passing second. We could hear footsteps pacing back and forth on the basement floor. We huddled together under our blankets, too terrified to move or make a sound. The screaming continued for what felt like hours, mixed with the sound of chains dragging across the floor and doors slamming shut. Neither of us slept a single minute that night. One girl was play as. As soon as the sun came up, my cousin begged to go home immediately. She was pale and shaking, and kept looking over her shoulder as if something was following us. After she left, I never invited anyone else to play those games again. The next day, strange things began happening throughout the house. Doors would slam shut on their own, and cold spots appeared in random rooms. The doll's eyes seemed to follow me wherever I went, and sometimes I'd find it in different positions than where I'd left it. My younger sister started having nightmares about a woman in white calling her name and asking her to come play in the basement. My mother found muddy footprints on the basement stairs, even though none of us had been down there since that terrifying night. I finally got rid of the doll, throwing it in a dumpster far from our neighborhood. Of course, the house is no longer the same, and there are still strange and scary things every day. But then, a few days later, I heard the most horrifying screams coming from a distant house across town. Apparently, someone had found it. The screams echoed through the night air, and I knew with absolute certainty that the cursed doll had found its next victim. But the terrifying truth was that the doll would continue moving from house to house, spreading its curse to every family that took it in. It would never stop haunting, never stop destroying lives, moving endlessly from one innocent home to another, leaving a trail of terror wherever it went. I've learned that some games are better left unplayed, and some dolls should stay exactly where you found them. And if you ever find an old, abandoned doll, do one thing: don't take it. That was Don't Take Any Doll, a true horror story you should never ignore. What would you have done if you found that doll? Turn off the lights, put on your headphones, and, whatever you do, never take something that was never meant to be found. Like, share, subscribe for more true horror stories. Your next nightmare is just one click away.